Okay, so hey everybody, this is the instructional for embossed metal projects. This is works actually pretty much the same on several, so that we don't have to do a different video for each one. We're just going to show you basically how the embossment goes. Everybody has a pad like this that they're going to use to do most of their embossing on. That's going to cushion under the metal so that we can get like a nice embossment. And you have a template that goes on top. It's already taped on to the metal. This metal's already been embossed, so it's taped on. And we want to keep that taped on the entire time until we're done with going over the whole front side of it. And we make sure we can lift up and look. Did we get everything? Where did we leave off? You can also feel it where you left off. We can lift up and look, but we don't want to remove this completely until we have everything completely outlined. So this one has already been outlined, so I'm going to go ahead and move that after I just show you how this works. So with every one of these, this is the same process for this project as well as this one. It's the same process except these ones with thicker letters, we go around the edges, completely around the edges and the insides of the letters all the way around it, kind of an outline. Same thing with this one. This one, if you can see, this printed in reverse, so it's a mirror image of it. We're just gonna actually, it's a once and done kind of thing. They're thin letters, so we just go right in that channel, inside the letters, and create that. And that's why it's reversed. So you'll know this is the only one, if you get this one, which says you never know what you have until it's gone. Toilet paper. Okay, I like it. Cute. Anyways, let's show you how this works on this one first. So while that's taped on, and again, this is, I took the tape off this one because it was already done, but let me just show you how you're going to want to press harder than you would if you were drawing or writing with a pen. You can use any kind of ballpoint pen, and you're going to slowly go around, completely around the edges. Like I said, firmer than you would if it was, if you were just writing something on paper. And you're going to go all the way around every single letter like that. You can pick up and look, did I make enough of an impression that I can see exactly what's going on? If not, you can go back over that once you have the whole thing done. Now, one little trick to doing this kind of work is always draw, this is painting or drawing, works best, always come towards your body and always keep it at an angle to where your thumb or your hand is not covering up where you're going, because you got to see where you're going, like that kind of thing. You want to see where it is you're going. Don't become an artistic acrobat and kind of keep turning your hand around to do that, because this moves. And you turn it as you need to, all the way around as you go, just to go towards yourself, always towards yourself, and always to be able to see where it is that you're going. Okay, so whatever doesn't kill me had better start running. This one has already been outlined, and this is what, that one should be this is what you end up with. Actually, it's still, the paper's still on this, so you can take that off now. Take the tape off, because I'm sure I got everything. Okay. Now, with this one, I'm going to turn it to its opposite side so that we made our initial outline. We can see everything. So we're going to keep it on the pad, turn it to the opposite side. Use this pen, either open or closed. So either with the pen point, or you can do it with just the tip of the plastic. Most likely the pen point works best. Don't worry about the fact that if it does or doesn't put ink in here, but gently you want to start creating those channels within the letters. And then once you get to this part, it's a little difficult sometimes. The lighting, if you can get, I have to keep the lighting high here so you can see this on here, but it does make it, if you're right under a bulb or something, it does make it, the reflection, a little difficult. And you don't want to worry about, this is the opposite side, so we're not worried about whether there is or isn't ink coming out here. We just want to create these channels in all of those letters. Slowly, and a few times over. Same process. Drawing towards you works best, although once you've created these channels, like from the first side that we were on, it's not that difficult to stay you know where you're going, more or less. So we're just gonna push those all forward. That's on the pad. We do the whole thing. Same thing for all of those, except for this one, which is, it was once and done. We did it on this side, we pushed it forward, and when we turn it this way, it is reading out correctly. So we're good on that one. These ones, you're going to want to push that in. After you get that all completely pushed in, we're going to remove the pad. We don't want the pad anymore. The surface we want to work on. Something, you want to put some paper or plastic down so that you don't, end up getting any of this alcohol inks on your table. They will stain. Okay, so this one's also been pushed forward, and then on the hard surface you want to use this to go around, and it's okay if it leaves pen mark because we're going to use a black alcohol ink to kind of coat this whole project, and we want ink to settle kind of into these crevices, so make sure you get inside that. So the only one I haven't done here is the think, and you can see that once, hopefully you can see that once you have pushed it forward from the other side, turn it back, now on the hard surface, we're just going to kind of make that embossment pop by going around it and pushing down the metal that surrounds the embossment so that it makes it stand out more. So don't forget, like inside the E's, the O's, the A's, that kind of thing, you want to get those too. Take your time with this, just get it, including the dots on the I's. So we do coat the metal so that the reflection isn't quite as difficult to work with, but there's still somewhat of a reflection that we need. So just be careful with that. Now, if you end up with any kind of kinks and whatnot in your metal out here, you can use one of these precision tip Q-tips on its side to lightly kind of brush over and flatten that metal out. On this particular one, this is the only one that has another color on it besides the black because of the wine glass. So on this particular part, back when you were doing the, when you were working on the other side with the pad, and you were doing, pushing these channels for the letters through, you're also going to use this precision tip to get the inside of the wine glass and slowly stretch that metal forward, just slowly. You don't want to do it too quickly or too hard because you'll end up with kind of creasing in there. So you want to slowly stretch that forward, and if we do it on an angle like this, you won't end up with, it'll be nice and smooth. You won't end up with a lot of ridges in it. So that's why I'm going to use this one for the painting, for you to see how that works out. Okay, so I already have my gloves on because actually my hands were completely covered in silk dye. That's not attractive. You wouldn't want to see that. So, but at this point is when you're going to want to put your gloves on. Like I said, this does stain, and you're going to use one of these cotton balls or pads that you have. The clear, which is a blending solution. We want to wet this pretty well with that. And we're going to start using some black, a little bit more. Start using some black. Just put about 3 or 4 dots in here. It's better to start with less. You can always add more. We're going to go over this a few times. Get rid of that. Okay. And then we're going to start by just gently. So you see how it kind of fills in the cracks around the letters? We're just going to kind of polish it on there gently. It will dry super quickly. So if you find it dries or you're working with it, you can go back and add more blending solution. Add more black if you need, but I would start out with less and just do a couple of coats like this. So go right off the edge so that you get everything there. And go over the letters. So we're not going to press so hard that we actually flatten this back out again. black over here. A little bit more blending. As I said, it dries really quickly. If you find that you put too much black on, you can always use a pad and some of the blending solution to remove some color. Not enough, you can add to it. You definitely want to go right off the edges. And don't worry about a finished product look, like touching it with your fingers or anything being a problem, until we're on our final sweep across it. We're just kind of building some color, and we just want it to settle in those, between and around all of those letters, and give us a nice background. Once we get the background exactly the way we want it, and enough color within all these letters, we're going to leave that background alone. We don't want to mess with it again, because if we start adding to that or doing anything with that, we have to kind of go over the whole thing. It's kind of hard to find the stopping and starting point with that. You kind of have to go over the whole background. So now this side is dry. I can touch this real quickly as I hold on to it to do this other side a little bit better. Now you can stick with this kind of polished look like this, or a little dry here. Let me add some blending solution. You can go with kind of like from top to bottom, straight up and down, right off the edges, and create kind of like a street wood grain looking textural effect. Either way, play with that, decide how you want it to be. I think I'm going to stick with the polished look. So I'll bring this back to polished lightly. And we're good. So you see that it has stuck around the letters more so than the full background. So what you want to do is take the blending solution and do this off the edge of your, you don't want it to be over your metal in case it drips. So you just want to wet this down. Wet enough, but not dripping wet, because we don't want it, if it's, just dot it off on a paper towel or something if it's too wet. We don't want it dripping wet, but we're going to just take this and remove with it on its side, like this, so that you're not straight up and down, kind of on the side, and you just move around to clean sections of this swab. You're going to use several to go over this and kind of clean this up. And we just want to get the raised tops of the letters back to silver again. So we're going to do that with the whole thing, and you know, you can turn it around, use the other side. The wine glass, I don't really worry about where the wine is in here, because we're going to put some burgundy in there, but certainly the upper part of the wine glass and the stem, you want to pull the color out of that, the darkness. And you'll need to go over that a few times to get all of that color out. Just a little off that on an angle like that, so you're just touching the tops, the raised part. You really don't want to touch the bottom with this at all. And we're going to put a little color in that glass. So I'm going to take, again, we have kind of like a burgundy wine color here. Just add a few drops to that. So your other projects, if you picked one of the other projects, you don't have any burgundy with it, you don't have any color, you're just going with the black kind of thing. So you got a little bit on the actual glass there itself, right over here. So after I'm done, I can take a clean swab and go ahead and remove that. So as far as cleaning with this, just dusting it like you would, you know, any other kind of a framed art. You don't want to use anything that's solution based like a Windex or alcohol on it, because it could remove some of your alcohol inks. So just either a damp cloth or a Swiffer or feather duster or something like that, just to dust it off. That's all you need. You could go ahead and use a it's called a Kamar varnish. It's really the only one that doesn't affect the alcohol inks, to kind of seal that in. And that's only from, like I said, it won't ever wipe off. Water's not going to take it off, but anything that's solution based, if you use the Kamar varnish on it, you would be able to then use Windex on it, but I don't really see any need to do that. Okay, so I just had that one little piece there. I'm going to want to take the color out of there. I don't have any more. Oh, there we are. So, clean swab. Like I said, you see how this top area, go over this several times. So you bring that back up to a silver, and then we have a black gel pen that you're going to be able to use to go around the edges just to make it stand out a bit more. But I was able to take this red from the edge of the glass right out. Okay, so in your kit now you also have a black gel pen, and you can use this to carefully outline those letters again, so in case they didn't get enough. Sometimes you have to use it. The metal itself makes it stop distributing the gel ink, so you may have to have a scrap piece of paper to write on just to get it rolling again. But basically you can use this to go completely around. You can do this with a pen as well. The gel generally works better. Today it's not seeming to help out much, but you're going to little by little just go ahead around those letters, redefine so that it makes it crisp and, you know, easy to read. And do that across the whole thing, as well as take the rest of the color out. So I believe that that's all that goes along with this project. You have the frame, so you're going to put this in the frame now. The frame comes with glass. You can either use the glass in front of this, or just the metal and then the glass behind it. I tend to do that. I tend to use them that way because you can actually see and feel, and you don't have the reflection of the glass, so you can see that it's textural art. You can see the embossment easier. But if you have little fingers at home to see something like this and like to press on it and kind of mess up your art, if that happens, you can take it out of the frame and use a thin Q-tip or a pen to go back in and push that forward kind of thing. Or you can put the glass in front of it, and then you don't have to worry about it, as well as the cleaning situation either. But good luck everybody with this project. I hope you have a great time. Send us some pictures of your finished work so that we can put that on our Facebook page. Everybody stay safe, and hope to see you here soon. Bye.